Hello and welcome to Thinking Women Extra.
Hi.
So I'm Lou.
Hello, I'm Max.
You know us by now. So this week we've been thinking about what we term the Phoenix moment in your life. But the Phoenix moment, I think, it happens later in life, and that's why it excites us. Have you had one? Because we have, and we want to talk about it.
I've had many.
Oh, okay.
Actually, maybe
Look at you.
I've not. Maybe I've just had many that I think are going to be the Phoenix moment, and they don't quite get there. But
You sort of like come out of the ashes, and your wings are a little bit.
yeah, and
They
I
haven't
think
gone.
it's a bit like there's another term I've heard, which is you burst in the baby bubbles. So you have a baby, and then you're just like mummy duty, and then you actually, as you start to do things, you burst those bubbles. It's like little balloons disappearing, and suddenly you've got the clear sky and you've got yourself back.
You know the mummy thing, just to go on to that for a minute. When I had my boys, I had a little bit of a kind of weird time in that when I became a mummy, I had this idea that I think was put into me by culture and society that I was going to be amazing and that I should love it. And quite honestly, in the early days, I didn't love. I loved my children, please. I'm not some horror. But I didn't love
It's hard
being a mother particularly. And I had to really learn how to do that because I definitely identified more with the career woman. And when I looked after my firstborn, at first, I really struggled. I have to be honest with you. And I found myself when I went back to work again.
And I think the Phoenix moment for me is all wrapped up with my girls getting a little bit older, and I, like you say, I love being a mum. I love doing stuff with my girls, but I miss being me. And I think that's the bit. It wasn't so much that the mummying was hard and difficult and frustrating, although sometimes it is. It was that I just wanted to do other stuff. And I remember
you can't do other stuff.
Yeah, and that
especially when you're a single mum.
Yeah, exactly. And now that's changing. So I feel like I've been having these little Phoenix moments. And doing the show was 3 years ago.
Let's talk about that.
That's a massive Phoenix moment.
Because not many people know this, but when I'm asked why did we start Thinking Women, really the main reason is that we both needed to find ourselves, and we did Thinking Women because we both opened up to each other and said, oh my God, I didn't know what I was doing in my life. My kids were older than yours, but I was like, living in Cornwall, I wasn't doing a job that I felt empowered in. And I just didn't know. And also I'd been doing the menopause and completely lost my confidence in who I was. I remember looking at my old CV and going, did I do that? Could I? That's not me. And that's what we did, didn't we? And you came from a different but similar angle. We were like, and we did it.
And it was a little bit like, oh, should we? Because you obviously worked in TV. I'd done loads of newsy TV bits and bobs, and we were like, oh, should we do some TV again?
Yeah.
And it was almost like a bit of a dare. It's like, go on, I dares you. I'll do it if you do it.
And because I was like, all right, I'll do it. And Mags was like, yeah, we've booked the studio. I was like, oh shit, we're gonna have to do it.
I'd get stuff done. It's like, let's just get on with it then.
But I was really, on the first day we went into the studio, were you really scared? I was really nervous.
Yeah, I mean, I'd not done any. I think the last bit of TV I'd done prior to that would have been some sort of Sky News commenting on the budget, probably 7 years before.
Mine was at least 10.
5 or 6 years before.
But we were like bullshitting it, really, weren't we?
We were. But the other thing I remember thinking as well is like we were very fortunate that you'd go off to. We're digressing a bit here from Phoenix moment, but you'd go off to wherever you would be for the filming, and you'd go into hair and makeup, and so you didn't have to worry about any of that bit. And I remember the first day we did Thinking Women, I was like, I've done my own makeup. Oh my God, is it going to be okay? And it was totally fine, and of course it is. But that was a massive Phoenix moment, and I think that then led to other things.
Yeah,
but
it needed that springboard. And what was really good is that we could do that together, because I don't know if I could have done that on my own. At that time, I definitely couldn't. It needed me and you to me, and then together we sort of basically encouraged each other, and we were like, yes, you can do that, and yes, you can do that. And then and now I look back and I'm like, oh my God. And some of my friends have gone, God, it's amazing that you do Thinking Women. And I was like, well, yeah, actually, now I think back, but it seemed very organic. It flowed, didn't it? It was obviously the right thing to do, and we bounced off each other. And
and I think from the point with that as well is, you know, and I'm very grateful to you as a friend.
Love it.
But you need the right people around you. You need those powerful women, and we put stuff on Instagram. We go, you know, find your tribe, have powerful women, have positivity, and it's all can sometimes look a bit like a cliche, but it's actually true. It's true. So true. It's so true. And I think, you know, I've got some lovely friends who are gorgeous, but are just a little bit less confident in doing stuff, and they would not be the people for me to go, should we do a TV show? They'd be like,
but then
no,
I know, but then yes, so
they give me other things.
Yeah. But deep inside us at the time, I was definitely at the time when we started chatting and came up with the concept of Thinking Women, I was at a very, very low point in my life. I completely lost my identity, and that was to do with the menopause. That was the worst for me. The worst thing, set aside the physical symptoms, but the worst thing for me with the menopause was the brain fog, the forgetting of the words. You know, when you're working in television and you're presenting, you have to remember what you're talking about. And if you just suddenly have a mental blank, which it kept happening to me, that's a bit of hair that's there, kept happening to me. And then I just had to pull back. I had to stop doing it because I was like, I can't go in front of a camera or in front of people or for my health and wellness business where I was standing up and training and forget and just, when your mind goes blank, it's awful. And then you just retreat. And then that's when I became a little person inside a shell. And that's what doing Thinking Women and you got me out of that and started me back on the road to my Phoenix moment, which is now I'm doing writing books and talking about the menopause and, you know,
but it's back that confidence, isn't it? And when you do get that and you start to feel like yourself again and you recognise yourself and you, it's just lovely. And I mean, I'm sitting here going, oh, isn't it great? Isn't it great? And I know for me, 3 years ago when we started Thinking Women, I was in a similar place and I wasn't working full time then. I was still working part time for myself, and I didn't feel confident enough to go back to the jobs that I was doing pre my children because I thought that my brain cells are disintegrated. It's like, I won't ever be able to do my job again because I'm not clever enough. And
you have to be very clever to do your job, Max, to be fair.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't do. But I
couldn't do what she does.
But lo and behold, I'm doing my job.
Doing it. Yeah. And that's the point, isn't it? Is that if we are going to give any message with this, it's hope. If you're in, I would just say honestly, if you're in that time of your life where Mags and I have both been, and let's be honest, it's still a journey. I wouldn't say either of us are 100% there, but we took that first step, and you know, it fortunately the universe brought us together, and together we were able to take that first step, and we ran with it from there. But I still have days where I lose the plot.
And it's, I think, what do you think about taking risks? Because something that has played a big part in my recovery from my, whatever it was that I had. I don't know what it was.
Loss of identity.
Was doing things that I, at the time, were way out of my comfort zone and taking some risks and going for it.
But when you're young, though, don't you think, if I look back at myself anyway, in my 20s and 30s, you would take risks all the time.
You had nothing to lose.
Because that's what, Whereas as you get older, you have got more to do. Well, you kind of have, I would say. You have, in the sense that we've probably all set ourselves up with mortgages and children, and we've got responsibilities. So fair dues on that point. So you have to sometimes, you can't be really crazy and take really, really big risks. But also, I do think we tell ourselves a narrative that we've got older and we shouldn't and we couldn't and we can't. And that bit's not true, because actually that bit you can do. So be careful is what I'd say. Be careful what you tell yourself you can't do, because sometimes I think you can.
And someone who has also been very inspirational, who's worth looking up as well, is Tea with Lucy B. Oh, I mean, the wonderful Lucy, who came into the show. She was a guest probably about a year ago, maybe a bit more than that. And she just like bounced into our lives with this. She was having, it wasn't just the Phoenix moment. She was having like the...
She got to 60 and she was like, come. And
Amazing.
I love that, because that is a thing as well. The post-menopause, the menopause thing is that you, like we said, you think you've lost yourself. And this Phoenix moment is there. And a lot of people talk about it. And Lucy's brilliant. Follow her on Instagram, because she absolutely has got it nailed. That there is a second or third life in us, and I feel that now, and I definitely feel that now. Suddenly, like we're doing Thinking Women, I'm writing a book, I'm writing a course. I'm like, really 2 years ago, I wouldn't have thought I could do that, and I do feel rejuvenated, and it is there in all of us. So yeah.
And I actually really do genuinely, why wouldn't you, love hearing about other people's success. Like, it makes me so happy when I hear that people are doing stuff. So please share your amazing stories, because it's just great. It's, and that's brilliant. We could all celebrate each other.
Yeah, and that's why we want to celebrate on Thinking Women, and that's why on our guests, when we do our regular show, you know, most women have been through some adversity and phoenixed out of it, and that's why they're here. And we're like, come on, girls.
And I've just thought of another one as well. There's sort of, you know, this is like the top 10. Faye Edwards. Oh my goodness.
Positive living movement. What could be better?
I was on a high for about a week after
I'm
I
joining
interviewed
that
her.
before I join any, you know, pity party movement. I'm joining the,
She was great. Anyway, so there's loads of ideas for you then. Hopefully that's cheered everybody up if you needed cheering up. And if you're on your Phoenix journey, hopefully that's helped you spread your wings even more.
Yes, fly, ladies, fly.
Bye.